There are people who move through the world with a quiet feeling they rarely talk about. It is not sadness exactly. It is not anger either. It is something more subtle than that. A persistent feeling that they are somehow emotionally different from everyone else around them. Part 52 is about the psychology of feeling emotionally out of sync with the world. You might be in a room full of people and notice something strange. Conversations feel normal on the surface. Everyone is talking, laughing, reacting naturally, yet inside you feel slightly disconnected from the rhythm of the moment. It's as if everyone else is operating on one emotional frequency while you are quietly tuned to another. You understand the conversation, you follow the interaction, but something inside you remains observant rather than fully immersed. Many people who experience this begin wondering if something about them is unusual. Why do other people seem to react so easily to situations that feel complex to me? Why do simple conversations sometimes feel shallow? Why do I notice emotional details that others appear to ignore completely? The answer often has less to do with being different and more to do with how your mind processes the world. Some people develop an emotional awareness that is deeper than average. They notice subtle changes in tone. They sense tension before it becomes visible. They observe contradictions between what people say and what they actually feel. This kind of awareness can create insight, empathy, and emotional intelligence. But it can also create a quiet sense of separation. Because once you begin seeing beneath the surface of interactions, it becomes difficult to return to experiencing them at face value. Part 52 explores something important about this feeling. Emotional depth can make the world feel both richer and more complicated at the same time. When you perceive more layers in human behavior, conversations rarely remain simple. A small comment can reveal underlying insecurity. A joke may contain hidden discomfort. A pause in conversation can carry meaning that most people never notice. Another reason people feel emotionally different is the experiences that shape them earlier in life. When someone goes through intense emotional situations, uncertainty, loss, instability, or deep introspection, their understanding of life often becomes more nuanced. They begin asking questions that others rarely consider. What actually matters? Why do people behave the way they do? What does it mean to live authentically rather than simply following expectations? These questions slowly reshape the way a person interacts with the world. Conversations that once felt normal may begin to feel incomplete. Social environments that once felt comfortable may begin to feel slightly artificial. Not because people around you are insincere, but because your perspective has expanded in ways that others may not share. Part 52 reveals another paradox about emotional depth. People who feel emotionally different are often extremely empathetic. They care deeply about the feelings and experiences of others. They can sense emotional pain in someone's voice, even when that person says everything is fine. They can recognize when someone is pretending to be okay. This ability makes them valuable friends, thoughtful listeners, and supportive partners. But it can also create emotional fatigue. Because constantly perceiving emotional layers requires energy, the nervous system remains active, interpreting signals that others simply overlook. Another interesting aspect of this experience is the relationship between observation and participation. When someone becomes highly aware of emotional dynamics, they may begin observing interactions almost automatically. Instead of simply reacting to conversations, they analyze them. They notice who dominates the conversation, who withdraws quietly, who is trying to impress others, who is masking insecurity with confidence. This observational awareness can make social environments feel more like complex psychological landscapes than simple interactions. Part 52 also touches on the feeling of internal contradiction. Many people who feel emotionally different can adapt to social environments very well. They know how to participate in conversations, how to respond appropriately, how to appear relaxed and comfortable. But internally, they may feel like they are translating between two worlds. the external world of normal interaction and the internal world of deep emotional reflection. Another element behind this feeling is the search for authenticity. When someone becomes aware of emotional complexity, they often develop a strong desire for genuine connection. They value conversations where people speak honestly rather than perform socially expected roles. They appreciate relationships where vulnerability and openness exist. But those environments are not always easy to find. Much of everyday interaction operates on practical communication rather than deep emotional exchange. This difference between the depth you seek and the depth commonly available can create a quiet sense of emotional isolation. Part 52 moves toward a more empowering understanding of this experience. Feeling emotionally different does not mean you are disconnected from humanity. In many ways, it means you are more connected to the emotional reality that exists beneath everyday behavior. You see things others may overlook. You recognize emotional patterns that others may not notice yet. People with emotional depth often become the ones others trust during difficult moments. They become the listeners who truly understand what someone else is going through. They become the voices that offer insight when situations feel confusing. Another important realization is that emotional depth tends to attract similar individuals over time. You may spend years feeling like your perspective is unusual, only to eventually encounter people who think and feel in remarkably similar ways. Conversations with those individuals feel different. You don't need to simplify your thoughts. You don't need to hide your reflections. The emotional language you speak is finally understood. And in those moments, something remarkable happens. The feeling of being emotionally different transforms into the realization that you were never alone in the first place. Part 52 ends with a quiet truth. If you feel emotionally different from the people around you, it does not mean something is wrong with you. It may simply mean that your awareness developed in ways that allow you to see the human experience with unusual clarity. And while that clarity can feel lonely at times, it also carries something rare: the ability to understand people not only by what they say, but by what they truly feel beneath their words.